me for a SD card reader if it's not reading your card. So I'm going to right click and make a new folder, call it Bubbles, and then I'm going to transfer over my files over there. So remember that you double click it to open it, go to DCIM, go to the most recent Canon folder, and then you're just going to click and drag over the ones that you want to select, click and drag them over into the folder, the ones that you most recently took yesterday. All right, then I'm launching Lightroom. Okay, and then you can see that I have some recent albums already here. Notice that when I'm in the studio or I'm at a shoot, I'm actually taking hundreds of pictures. So we're gonna talk about culling, which means okay, I just took hundreds of pictures. How do I possibly edit all of these at the same time? So next to albums, I'm gonna hit the plus and say create album and say Bubbles. Say create. Okay, I'm going to select that album and say add photos. I'm going to go to desktop Bubbles. I'm going to select the first one, hold down shift, and then I'm going to select the last one and review for import. Now here I don't spend a lot of time actually looking at them, the previews here. I'm just going to, any ones that are black, they didn't fire, my strobe didn't fire, or it's just nonsense pictures. Sometimes I just shoot a couple pictures at the hip, before I get started. I'm not actually going through, there's an error with that one. I'm not going through any of those and actually getting rid of those yet. So I'm adding those 103 photos. Okay, when I review, I really like to look at it, the largest, fitting, the image fits to the screen and the largest view possible. Unless I'm comparing maybe one shot to the next shot, which one is better, then I might look at it as a pair, but there are other options, but to me, my eyes are too, old to be able to look through pictures like that. Okay, so then when I am culling, what I do is I basically just look through each of the pictures, and if I like a picture and I know I want to edit it, I'm just going to put the check mark next to it. So this is a great picture. I'm going to put a check mark next to it. I'm hitting the arrow on the right to go through, and I'm just gonna oh, this is a really great one, so I'm gonna hit the arrow for that one. I'm just hitting the right arrow, going through any images that really stand out to me, that are just great. They're just very powerful, and that's just really interesting too. So I'm gonna select that one. There's some good ones. These are all a little bit overexposed. I remember talking to Frankie about this. But let's just pretend that, I did all that. I went through 113 and I put some check marks. Now I only want to see the check mark one. So I'm going to go up here to filter, and I'm going to select the little check mark, and it's showing me only the ones that I check marked. Okay. Usually at this point, I don't actually go back and look for more pictures because there's usually enough that I'm yep, these are the best to work with. At this time, you're going to go over and you're going to look at, choosing a preset to get the best possible exposure and adjustment, and you might want to crop, and you could use the healing or the band-aids and stuff like that. So I'm going to go over to edit this picture. I'm just going to go to the presets, and I actually like to, these are all the suggested ones from Lightroom Discover. I'm going to select subtle. I don't want it to change too much. So basically it scanned the picture for me when I was over here, and this is the ones that were suggested by Lightroom based on the photo, because that has that artificial intelligence. So I really like that one. Oh, I really like the blue and this one, so I'm going to select that one. Okay, you can also make it black and white or whatever you want to do. You can come down to crop, okay, and then it's going to say, what kind of aspect ratio. So you could say 8.5 by 11, because I might print this for you. And then you're just hitting the return button to make the crop. And then we also have the healing brush tool. So I can change the size of the brush. I can zoom in, 400. Let's pretend that that maybe, I don't know what I want to get rid of, but I can make, and then also the same keys work, the curly brackets to make it smaller and bigger. The cool thing about this, and it's a little bit different than Photoshop, is if you click to make a correction, it tells you where it's actually pulling the source pixels from, so you can change that. That's why it looks a little bit different here. Okay, so let's pretend I edited all 3 of them. Let's go back to fit. All right, so what I'm gonna do is select the first one and hold shift and select the last one so they're all selected. Then I'm gonna go to share and I'm gonna say custom, okay? What do I wanna do? I want to output a JPEG. I want the dimensions to be custom, full size. I want the quality to be 100%. I want it to include all the metadata for my teacher. And then it's gonna say, do you want to rename it? And I would say yes, okay? I would say first name, last name. This was Bubbles. And then today's 11/11/2022. And it will start by naming it, you know, one, and then you could have some other things. You could even, if you are a real photographer, you could include your watermark if you were sending these as proofs. Then I'm gonna hit export these 3 photos. I'm gonna go to desktop, new folder, and I'm gonna call it Bubbles Edited. And this is exactly what I do for clients. So I had the originals, you know, in its own folder, but now these are the edited ones. I'm gonna hit export. And then I'm gonna go to that folder that's on my desktop, and we can see that now this is edited. It's cropped, it was fixed up, it has the preset on it, it looks beautiful, okay? So now I'm just gonna go to Canva, Canvas, so remember you can go to Digital Arts 116, go to Canvas, go to the assignment, and then you're turning it into where it says, turn in best bubble photos here, all right?